Today's episode is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/HadokenDebt. They've got over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, and even if you're still rocking the old pt3 player. So if you've got a long commute to DC or wherever you work, or you're trying to get through an exercise program for the day, or you're going on a long road trip, then get an audiobook. It's a no-brainer. And that way, you can tell people, you can slyly slide in a conversation, oh, I read that book, but little do they know it was an audiobook. But it doesn't matter, because you enjoyed yourself and you got the content, and it was just a fun time. So it doesn't matter. So go to audibletrial.com/HadokenDebt for your free trial and free audiobook. Did you ever hear about that story of the eagle and the chicken?
Mm-mm.
Okay, it's just a story, but the chicken used to be able to fly. So he was flying with the eagle.
Science with Charlie Chang.
Yes. It's in the Bible. No. But they were both flying, and they look down and see a farmer, and the farmer's like, just come stay with me. I'll feed you, give you warmth and all this. Mm-hmm. And the chicken's like, whoa, that's awesome. We can just go down there and get all our needs met. Mm-hmm. And the eagle's like, oh, that sounds too easy. I kind of like being up here soaring the skies and all that. So the chicken goes down. It's like, okay, well, beat yourself, suit yourself. He goes down there. He gets fed, gets water. But then at the end, the farmer has him for dinner,
mm-hmm. So and the chicken's forgotten how to fly.
Yeah.
And he's self-sufficient.
Yeah. So the eagle is free, but the chicken is fat, can't fly, or dead for dinner. Mm-hmm. And that's the story for today.
Why we eat turkeys for Thanksgiving.
Yes. Can turkeys fly? Maybe they were up there too in the story.
No, they can't.
No? Okay.
I mean, they can flap and get up to high things, but not fly
they can
away.
Gobble.
I was talking about that with my wife. Like, what if Ben Franklin had his way and the turkey... Was it Ben Franklin? Yeah, because we were watching a movie, 1776, and it was Ben Franklin and Thomas Jefferson and Samuel Adams that were arguing about what the national bird should be. And Thomas Jefferson said it should be a dove. Ben Franklin said it should be a turkey. And Sam Adams wanted the eagle. But I was saying, what if Ben Franklin had had his way and the turkey was the national bird and it was illegal to shoot turkeys?
Oh my!
And we ate bald eagles for Thanksgiving.
Maybe we would be more healthier if we did.
I don't know. We'd have farm-raised bald eagles.
Yeah.
To meet the demand.
But then the eagles wouldn't be soaring because they'd be in the farmer's grass.
Because we could eat them.
So. We just messed up the time-space continuum.
It could have happened.
Yeah.
They would have clipped wings of the eagles till they forgot how to fly. Shot them up with hormones and stuff like that, so you get big-breasted eagles.
Yeah.
And
Butterball would be...
Butterball eagle.
Butter eagle. I don't know.
So, anyways.
Yeah. So let's... Oh, you were about to say something?
Nope.
Okay. Let's move into Captain America 3 Civil War, a.k.a. Avengers 2.5.
An Avengers movie with more Avengers in it than an Avengers movie.
I did enjoy this movie. I just don't know why it was under Captain America title, because it was the Avengers. Yeah. I mean, the only solo part of Captain America was just the relationship between Bucky and him, I think. Other than that is...
Yeah. I've noticed Avengers movies tend to focus on world-ending threats.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And Captain America movies tend to focus on... This is my libertarian take on it. Tend to focus more on government policies and restrictions.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, yes, it is about Captain America and Bucky, but it's also about the Mutant Registration Act or the Sokovia Accords and how they want to limit enhanced individuals. Captain America 2, Winter Soldier, was about the secret SHIELD program that he basically had a line in there that says, "We hold a gun to every American citizen's head and call it safety."
Yeah. Why have the left or right nut when you can have the big Johnson?
So that's kind of my take on it, is why this is truly a Captain America movie.
No, that makes sense.
Because it deals with a lot of America's principles and, you know, freedom versus responsibility versus accountability, things like that. So,
and you can see why Captain America wouldn't want to be under a government control, because I guess during the Nazi regime, the Jews were under their control. So
that's actually a line in the, I'm not going to refer back to the Captain America Civil War comic book too much. Okay. But that's actually the feeling in the comic book is, I've lived in a country that put names on lists before, and it's not a good idea. It comes through a little bit in this movie because he does say to Iron Man, what happens when the people in charge change? You know, that's part of it, is like, what happens when somebody comes up and becomes in charge and sends us somewhere we don't want to go?
Yeah.
Or doesn't send us somewhere where we do want to go.
Yeah, where we need to go, but they don't.
Yeah, and it's that idea. That's the problem of regime change. And when you capture anything into a law and say, you know, it's illegal to do this, you've now said the government has the ability to tell you you can do this or you can't. And your party's in power right now, but what happens when they aren't? And so that's one of the things I felt was missing from the comic book, is just that whole names on lists thing, or numbering people. But I think that they did good job of still saying why it's a bad idea and representing both sides. Yeah. So I've got a ton of notes on this.
I see that.
And I'm going to go into ranty areas.
You go ahead.
But my main question is, what side would you have been on before I decide if we need to fight here? Hadoken debt civil war.
I want to say I'd be on Captain America's side, but I would probably get on Iron Man's side, because I'd want to feel that safety of the government, so I would just let them handle it and just tell me what I need to do.
That was one of the cool lines too, is Captain America basically said, this isn't going to stop anything. It's just going to remove the accountability or remove the responsibility from us and pass the buck to somebody else. Because now they can kind of say, you know, we went there because the government sent us, and that's why we did what we did.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what kind of drives Tony the entire time, is his guilt of what he's done.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny in the Honest Trailers one, or was it? Maybe it was How It Should Have Ended. Yeah. But it was like, you're the only one screwing everything up all the time, Tony. Why do we? Yeah, Ultron was you. We're just fighting evil every single time that you. And you know, the government's the one that launched the nukes on New York City when the Chitauri attacked. And so it's like, this should be like, restrain Tony. Hey, we can all sign that.
But, I mean, at the same time, it's like, okay, the Avengers as a side product have damaged things, but they saved the world from aliens. Right. Like, what do you want? Like, have a messed up city, or the whole world taken over by Thanos? Like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, that was my question, is like, how do these accords do anything to actually stop alien invasions, or bad mutants from disobeying them, or you know, all it really does is restrict the good mutants from responding to the invasion until more damage has been done.
Well, who was it that said, well, the reason why all this chaos happens is because it's attracted to you guys who are with the powers?
That was Vision. Okay. So he says it's been 8 years since Iron Man came out as Iron Man, and since then there's been a commensurate increase in the number of challenges from enhanced individuals too. So he says power attracts challenges. And if you've got somebody who's strong, there are going to want to be people that can overthrow it, take him down.
Right.
Which I understand. That makes sense. So
I don't know what...
I still don't see how the Accords solve that, though. You still have powerful people. And other powerful people who don't want to listen to that. Or just say, I'm going to stand up and be in charge.
Right.
And so that was one of my other questions, is how would these Accords even have jurisdiction over Thor and Loki from Avengers 1? They're both aliens. They're both here because they want to do what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
We're thankful Thor came along and helped Earth out in that situation. But you have no jurisdiction over an alien planet and what they do and what they send here.
Right.
So that was one of them. My other question is, and this is why I think it's disingenuous for Iron Man to be on one side and Captain America to be on the other, is Iron Man's not enhanced.
No, it's a suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so of the 12 that were used in Civil War, I was counting them last night when I watched, only 5 of them actually the Accords apply to.
Or even Black Panther.
Yeah, no, there's a whole, I mean, Iron Man, War Machine, Falcon, Black Panther, Ant-Man isn't enhanced.
Right.
Hawkeye and Black Widow. 7 out of the 12.
So who's that?
It applies to Scarlet Witch, Captain America, Bucky, Vision, and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Are the only 5 that it applies to. The rest, hang up your equipment and quit being Iron Man.
Yeah.
Quit being any of those things and go back to being a human. That's the thing, is it's like, what's the requirement to be on this list? Do you actually have to be enhanced? Can't Iron Man just say, I don't want to be on a government list, hang up his suit and walk away and be normal?
Right.
And it's like, where's the fairness in that of, you've got this suit in your wardrobe at home that you could break out anytime you want to, but you're not enhanced and you don't have to be on this list?
Yeah. I guess the ability to have the power, I guess.
Being rich?
That's his ability, I guess. And he's a scientist. He knows it doesn't go on anybody else other than War Machine. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
I don't know.
You're breaking too many holes, man.
No, I think that's a huge hole, because that's like saying, being a non-Jew in Nazi Germany and saying, I don't really care if they put Jews on a list.
Right.
Because it doesn't apply to you. And it's like, well, once it does apply to you, you're going to start
care.
caring.
Yeah.
So I think that it is disingenuous of Tony Stark to act like this applies to him when it actually doesn't.
Yeah.
He can retire any day, but Captain America's name is going to be on that list until he's 100 years old, because he's still going to have those powers.
Right.
And 100 years from now, who knows what the government is going to require of this enhanced list. That's kind of the whole point behind all the X-Men movies as well.
Yeah.
Is Professor X is for registration and Magneto is against registration, because Magneto knows, having lived through a Nazi war camp,
right,
what happens when power shifts and bad people come in charge. So, which is weird to think, because I also wanted to ask you, like, whose side do you think other Marvel people would be on? But it is weird to think that Xavier would be on Iron Man's side and Magneto would be on Captain America's side in this.
I think, I mean, I guess...
Or maybe Xavier would be somewhere in the middle, and what's the commander's name that made Wolverine?
Stryker.
Stryker would be the Iron Man side, and Magneto would be the Captain America side.
Yeah,
and
that's weird.
Xavier would be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Not really for registration, but also not for overthrowing it or blatantly standing against it. Just a safe space in the middle where you could be enhanced and hide from the government. But had Thor and Hulk been in this movie, where do you think they would have fallen?
I think Hulk would have been on Iron Man's side, because I think he just doesn't want... I don't think he wants power.
He wants to be restrained.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
And probably Thor would be like, I'm alien, so you don't. I'm on Captain America's side. I'm doing my thing.
Thor would have just been like, I'm just gonna not show up on Earth anymore.
Back to Asgard.
You guys are gonna chain me up every time I come here. I'm out.
Yeah.
Fight Loki yourself.
Yeah.
So. One of the weird things to me about this movie was Black Widow and Hawkeye and the sides they end up. First, why were they not on the same side? They're best friends. They go back way before the Avengers was even formed. But then Hawkeye's on the anti-government side, and Black Widow, who is only Black Widow because of government control and training, is on the pro-government side.
Yeah. Because Hawkeye is just this peaceful family guy,
Mhm.
you know, when he's not on the Avengers. You would think he'd be on the government side because he doesn't want all this chaos.
Right.
Yeah, it should be switched.
Yeah, that's what I felt too. And they even mentioned it. It's like, weren't you just, a couple years ago saying that government shouldn't be trusted and you don't want your name on a list to Black Widow?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I kind of feel like I need to have my hand on the steering wheel on this one. So I felt that their motivations should have been flipped, but then also they should have been on the same side.
Yeah.
But then you have the problem of who would they have fought
Yeah.
at the airport? Because Black Widow and Hawkeye really aren't going to fight anybody else but Black Widow and Hawkeye. Black Widow's going to go up against Vision.
Nah. I mean, he'll go, something went through me. Ah.
That's not a fight.
But then she kind of turned at letting
Oh, yeah, she
Captain
did.
America.
Yeah, and they said, you were pulling your punches and stuff like that. That they weren't really fighting each other that much.
Right.
And she did end up on the right side.
Yeah. I thought Captain America was going to die at the end.
Really?
Like, from the comic, I guess. Because I think he got shot at the end of Civil War in the comics.
Yeah.
So
I don't remember how. He didn't die.
No, he didn't?
He didn't die. But I was happier with the way this ended than I was with the way it ended in the comics also.
Okay.
Because in the comics, Tony Stark is basically like, look around you, see what has happened because of this. And Captain America's like, whoa, you're right. I've been wrong this entire time. And surrenders. I'm like, really? That's the way that it resolves?
Yeah.
So at least they fought it out, and Captain America walked away in this one.
But then he
which
wrote
I
the
was
love
happy with.
letter and said, well, if you need me, I'll be there.
Yeah, because they're still
Like,
buds.
Yeah. So they weren't really fighting each other. They were just kind of wrestling.
I think he was able to
Roughhousing.
do that because he won. He came out on top, and Tony Stark was at his mercy. If
yeah,
Tony Stark had beaten the crap out of Captain America, Tony Stark would not have extended an olive branch. Because in the end, it had nothing to do with Sokovia. All it had to do was, Tony Stark says, I don't care, he killed my mom.
Yeah.
It just had to do with Tony Stark wanting vengeance against Bucky.
Yeah.
Which brings me to another point about the Sokovia Accords. The people who were signing the Sokovia Accords did not want to be on the Sokovia Accords.
No.
So Tony Stark takes it into his own hands to chase down Captain America and Bucky, even though he's signed this document that says, I will not take it upon my own hands or invade international space to pursue my own vendettas. He does that exact thing. The day that the Accords are to be signed, Black Panther violates the Accords to take vengeance out on the death of his father. It's like you were just in that room to say, I will not take things into my own hands. And here you are chasing
Doing
Bucky.
Yeah.
That thing hadn't even gotten a chance to be signed yet because they blew up the center.
Yeah.
And he's like already breaking it. But doesn't get locked away as a criminal.
No.
Because the only criminals are Captain America and Bucky in this entire thing. Everybody else is allowed to walk away scot-free.
Right.
And then, what jurisdiction does Black Panther have to be in Bucharest chasing down the Winter Soldier?
Yeah.
He was in Vienna for the signing. He's from Wachovia.
Wachovia.
No.
Wachovia
That's
Bank?
a bank. Where's he from? T'Challa from Wakanda.
Wakanda.
He's from Wakanda, and he goes to Bucharest to chase down the Winter Soldier.
I guess
Outside of his jurisdiction, the exact same thing, the whole reason we had the Accords.
Right.
So,
I don't know.
I have lots of issues.
You're finding all the holes. I just took it for what it was and tried my best to enjoy it.
Oh, it was
you know?
fantastic. I love this movie, don't get me wrong.
The fighting was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love the chase scene
Yeah.
in Bucharest when they're chasing him down the freeway.
Yeah.
The scene where he grabs the motorcycle while the guy's riding on it and then mounts the motorcycle in midair and takes off. I'm just like, that was fantastic. That was great.
I'm trying to think of it's only been 2 days ago since I saw it, but I'm coming up blank. What else did I like?
I like in Bucharest when Captain America meets Bucky in the apartment room.
Yeah.
And he's like, this isn't the way to do it. Don't kill anyone or something. Bucky's like, I'm not going to kill anyone, and then proceeds to beat the crap out of everybody.
The SWAT team that coming in.
It's like, I'm not going to kill anyone. I'm just going to seriously maim
them.
Throw them through windows, crash them against the walls, shoot explosions and grenades and stuff their direction, throw them down the stairwell, all this kind of stuff. And I'm sure none of them died at all from their wounds.
I did have a question. You know how there was 5 other Winter Soldiers?
Yes.
Did that doctor kill them?
Yes.
Okay. He just didn't want them around. I'm trying to understand his reason.
He didn't want Winter Soldiers. He said that when they showed up. He said, the last thing I want is 5 more of you.
Yeah.
But he knew that the threat of 5 additional Winter Soldiers would be great enough to lure them all to Siberia.
Oh, okay.
So that's why he did that.
Okay. They tied him to sleep.
I mean, I can get in. There's lots of things going on with Zemo's plan that I could poke holes into. But the last thing I want to bring up, and I mentioned this to Sarah when we were watching it last night, they capture the Winter Soldier in Bucharest, and then they drive them to their base in Berlin. And I looked up that drive. That's an 18-hour drive. That
A whole day.
They took an 18-hour drive with Cap and Falcon and Black Panther all just sitting in the car.
Yeah.
Bucky's locked up in a chamber or whatever, and it's like, how you're gonna capture him here, drive him to Berlin, and it's just going to happen to be the exact same location where Zemo is waiting and has already picked out the exact psychiatrist that they're gonna bring into this thing.
Hadoken!